listening to Come As You Are, the podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm joined by my two friends, Amanda and Tyler. We are a trio of coaches on a mission to ignite a collective movement where authenticity, self-discovery, and purposeful living take center stage. Each episode, we go live in the CAYA way. CAYA is an open invitation to show up authentically and vulnerably. It's a safe space to allow ourselves to be worthy and enough now. It's a celebration of our individuality and diversity. So welcome to the show. We are happy that you're here, and we invite you to join us in today's conversation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody doing today? Wow. That's exciting, right?
Good question, Amanda. Great question. I feel like where I'm at right now is just at a space of balance. Like I feel like for the last couple of weeks, every time we jump on and you're like, how are you doing this week? Or how are you doing today? And I'm just like, I'm good. Like, and it's very like it's becoming my new normal to just be in this state of like okayness, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I can get behind that, like just calm, centered, in the thick of it all per usual, but like just really deeply appreciating the journey. That's how I'm doing today.
Very nice.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm very exhausted. There's like so many things coming together
for
right
good
now
reason.
Where I'm like, okay, I'm really exhausted. But yeah, for several reasons. I didn't sleep well 2 nights in a row. Like one night I only slept 1 hour and then the other one maybe 3 or so. So I had to catch up on some sleep yesterday and I'm still feeling it. And and then also today I got my period. So that's fun. So yeah, overall, just my body is just telling me, okay, just don't do anything today. Just relax, chill, rest. So it's for me, it's one of those very cozy days, when you just want to curl up in bed and have a nice cup of tea. So I'm not laying in bed, but I do have my tea and just taking it very slowly today. That's where I am at. Yeah.
Those days are so needed. Like cozy, cuddly, just kind of unplugged days, very needed. Especially after the weekend that you had, which we're not going to dive into today, which I'm a little disappointed that we're not going to go there today, but we'll save that for next week. And I'm excited to hear all of the juicy details and your experience, but stay tuned. That's coming, y'all.
That's so exciting.
Building the anticipation and suspense of like, well, what happened that made it so incredibly exciting and exhausting?
No, I'm gonna definitely give a spoiler. So I've been to the Beyonce concert, or one of the Beyonce concerts in London, and due to our travel arrangements, it just was more stressful than it had to be. And so a concert for me is also always very energy taking, in a very good way too, but also in a way that I do need recovery time afterwards. So I will talk about this when I have more energy next week, and you will hear me be super duper excited and into it. And I have so many things to share about it. It was just phenomenal. But yeah, today is just not. I wouldn't do justice to Beyonce to talk about this with the energy level I have today.
That's very fair. That's very fair. We got to respect the queen, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So Amanda, how are you doing?
Amanda, yes. How are you?
Oh gosh, I'm feeling good today. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a quiet day. They're taking the day off for the renos, so it's gonna be a quiet day, which I'm really already appreciating, just not having to feel like I can't even hear myself talk or think over the banging during our episodes and just the background noise. And, I didn't realize even how noisy it was until now that it's quiet, if that makes sense. Like I knew it was noisy, but I didn't realize how noisy. And now I'm like, wow, it was really, really noisy. So I'm grateful for that, the calm and the quiet. And yeah, it's supposed to be a really, really nice day today. So I'm excited to like get outside and come back and it still be like quiet and peaceful at home. That should be, yeah, really nice.
Have you like tried to wear earplugs, like even during the day?
No.
Because that's for me something that like is such a game changer. Because sometimes I have also, I don't know, the building where we live in has thinner walls than what we want. So we hear the neighbors, and so I've actually started to wear earplugs during the day sometimes when I hear the TV constantly and I just want, peace and quiet. Then I just wear earplugs during the day. And yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Ideally, I'd love to have more considerate neighbors, but what can you do? Sometimes they're just not considerate, so I have to deal. And yeah, I don't know, just a suggestion. And I think also what I've learned, I don't know if we need to go too deep into the conversation, but there's different kinds of earplugs because some people just don't work well with one type, and you can try them out. Like for me, the ones that expand in your ears, I find they're like the best ones, but some people just can't handle them. And then kind of like, the ones that are similar to the in-ear headphones, like they also work really well if you want to block out distant noise, like noise that's not like right next to you, but maybe like you have with the constructions upstairs, for example. I'm realizing now I'm such a pro. Maybe I should like go on a website or something and talk about it.
How to find experiments. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to discuss how to find the perfect earplugs for your environment.
Well, there you go. Go to like Come As You Are the podcast / no, I'm kidding. That's how it starts with the affiliations, people.
This episode is sponsored by. Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsor. No. But isn't it interesting though, like how we all have little things that we are like kind of subject matter experts in,
and they're the most random stuff,
the most random things, like,
but like at one point, like it was important to you, so you like learned all the things about it. But I totally hear you on that. And now I'm trying to think, like, okay, maybe Stephanie's is earplugs. Tyler, what would you say is for you? Or Stephanie, do you have any others? I don't know, but like I'm trying to think for me. I'm like, what's some random useless, or what seemingly useless, like random facts do you know a whole lot about? I don't know.
I'm really good, like, and I don't know if this is like, I don't know if this counts, but like I've always been really good with like airports and like traveling. And so like how to pack and how to navigate the airports and how to get around, like, because a lot of people, and I didn't realize this, but a lot of people get real stressed out when they travel. Like, and I was just like, if I could spend my entire life at an airport, I probably would, because I find them to be so fascinating. It's like really the only place in the world where you can literally have somebody from every single country right there, like in one space at one time. Like there's just so much, like, I don't know. I deeply appreciate airports. And so like when I go, I study them And so like I study layouts, and like people are always like, how do I get from here to here? And I'm like, well, you go down there and then you catch the train, and then, you know, you're going to get off in 3 stops. And I've always been like very hyper nerdy when it comes to airports and traveling, and like planning out like perfect itineraries and things like that. So that's like my little random kind of obsession deep dive that like I don't ever really use other than when I'm traveling or, you know, things like that. But
that's so fascinating.
Yeah. And I'm curious if this is like the flight attendant. Like, is this the connection, or this has nothing?
Probably. You know, when I became a flight attendant, I was very excited. I was like, oh, I'm gonna spend all the time at the airport, and then I realized that like the lifestyle of a flight attendant isn't as glamorous as they make it out to be in the movies. But yes, from a very young age, I've always been obsessed with planes, aviation, and actually when I was like real little, I couldn't say plane. Like I had a hard time pronouncing my L's when I was little. And so I used to look up at the sky and I would point out and I would go, the pain, the pain, the pain. And I would just shout like the pain. And I was always, I mean, from like 3 years old up until today, like just obsessed with planes. Like I study seat maps. I can tell you like where's the best seats on the plane and, you know, stuff like that. So that's my little like random trivia tidbit, like nerdy obsession.
So would you say that the flight attendant job kind of just helped you map everything out even better? Or would you say that obsession came from that?
Yeah, no. It just helped me map things out even better. Cause like, I mean, and I was a regional flight attendant, so I now even got to see like even the tiniest airports, you know, and things like that. And so again, just seeing the expansiveness of aviation and knowing that like, you know, there's really tiny like community airports, and then there's big international airports, and they're, you know, it's just fascinating. Like I love air travel.
What's your favorite airport from the ones you know?
That's a great question. Okay, this is going to sound really biased because I live here, but I really do love DFW, like the airport in my hometown here. And the reason why I love this, and this is very controversial because people either love or hate DFW. I love it because as a passenger, it's a massive airport, but the terminals themselves are really easy to navigate. And like if you're like boarding your flight in Dallas, meaning you're coming and you're getting dropped off and having to go through security, you never have to walk more than like 5 minutes to get to your gate. Versus there are like some airports where you get dropped off and then it's like a 45-minute hike to get back to the gate. And that's what I appreciate about Dallas is like you can go through security, and sometimes security might be, you know, 30 minutes of waiting, but then you've got less than 5 minutes to get to the actual gate, because once you're through security, it's like right there, because the way it's designed like a semicircle, and it's just really like it feels like a small airport, even though I think it's the second largest airport in the United States, and like maybe the 5th largest in the world. Like it's a massive airport, and
it's well designed.
It's well designed. Like whoever coordinated that, and I can't say that about the rest of Dallas-Fort Worth being designed intentionally, but that airport beautifully designed. Yep. Anyway, that's
shout
out to DFW Airport for making my list as the best airport that I've been to so far. But my dream airport is I want to go experience the Singapore airport.
Who doesn't?
I know. Do you guys
know what
watch
the Singapore
those videos?
airport has? Like it's ridiculous. Like,
I mean, it's like a modern museum. It's like an outdoor garden. Like
is this where we're meeting?
Airport.
Or should we just plan
we're just going to Singapore and then meeting at the airport?
Just to meet up. We won't go into actual Singapore. We'll just all meet at the airport and then take our respective flights home.
You sounds like fun. Spend like an entire week there to explore at Singapore airport. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I've heard also so many things about it.
That's my bucket list airport to get to. Yes.
So Amanda, what is something that you are a pro at that might seem a little random or weird?
Yeah, I've been so like in what Tyler was sharing. I'm like, ooh, airports, travel sounds so much fun. And like, so the first thing that was coming to mind for me was like, but it's too similar where I'm like, I can see where like, yes, navigating those things or like figuring out how things work. But that's not really like super random. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do I know random stuff about? I think for me, probably it would be like knowing things about like I'm going to say sports, but it's not necessarily like, your typical sports you see on TV. Like I'm so in like with my son's sports that like, I know all the rules and I know all of like the little like things. And, so like, I'm the like go-to parent where they're like, oh wait, why did they do this? Or why did that happen? It's like, but because every year I like read the rules and I read through like, okay, like how does it work? Because each year it changes when they're younger, right? It's not like professional rules. Like there's different rules. So like when he first started baseball, it was 5 outs, so that's very different than baseball. So it's just, and it was like a pitching machine. And now it's like, okay, now there's a pitcher and there's certain rules that the pitcher can only pitch a certain number of innings. And like, so all of those like just to me, I think that's, I guess that's kind of random because I'm usually the go-to parent who like, everyone's like, wait, what does that, or how does that work? So to me, I don't think it's random because I want to know what's happening. But when I think of like the situation and how often I'm asked, or like someone will say, wait, how does that work? And they're like, I don't know, ask Amanda. So I guess that's probably like my random, but I probably know a whole lot of like random stuff because we get in like our homeschool space, we get like on random tangents. Like one time it was Titanic and we just like read every single book about the Titanic from the library. Tyler's freaking out.
I love the Titanic.
Yeah.
That's another one of my like random, like I obsess over the Titanic.
It's so fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. And like we want to get to like some of the Titanic museums and that another like we just need to like this is the episode of like the bucket list of meeting places for CAYA.
You have to do like one of the Titanic experiences where like you go through and like, it's like the museums that they have, like they have one in Las Vegas where when you check in, you actually get like a boarding pass and you're either like a first class passenger or second class passenger or a third class passenger. And it's actually a real person from the ship. And then you walk through the entire exhibit and it's really cool. And then at the end, and this is a bit morbid actually now that I'm sharing this out loud, but you find out whether or not you died or survived the shipwreck.
Okay. But I mean, I guess it's facts, right? Like it is what it is. It's what happened.
Yeah.
But that sounds really neat because there is one, but it's like a whole like virtual reality thing that's near me. And I've been waiting because it just opened and I'm like, I wonder how good it's going to be because I know where it is. I don't think the location's very big. So I was wondering like how much could they really fit because it's this like virtual reality thing. I was like, that could be kind of interesting, a different experience. But that sounds really, really neat. We love those kind of like immersive experiences. So yeah, another thing to add to the list.
There we go. Singapore Airport, Titanic Museum. Okay, Stephanie, where do you want, what's your meetup place?
So what am I getting from all of this is that we're gonna, like, next season will be CAYA on the road. So we will just do like the podcast, not from like our homes. We will just travel to. We will become
How
a vlog,
epic
like
would
a
that
normal
be?
vlog.
Hey!
If every week we showed up in like a new location,
Look at
and
us
it was like,
planning
can
all
you
shit.
guess where we're at today?
Oh yeah, we can make that a game. Oh, that would be really fun. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
write
So
it down.
let me think about it. I have like many random places. I want to go to the Azores. I want to go to Fireland. Still haven't gotten around to go to Japan. Almost every Asian country.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like also like in Europe, some places I haven't been to. I'm a huge fan of Norway. I've been before. Bless you, Amanda. But I could like go. Could probably live in Norway. If there would be any other country I could live in, it would probably be Norway. I love that country. Yeah. What else? I don't think there's like. Yeah, I don't know. There's some other locations that might be a bit more difficult. Like, I don't know. It would be really cool to go to Alaska, for example. I think we also talked about meeting up in Hawaii, right? That
We
would
did.
be fun to do.
Yep.
We were talking about that. That was during the beaches episode.
Yeah, so something like that. Yeah, I think there's plenty of places. I could list like almost every place on this planet now, so I'm gonna stop here. But
Well,
we've
hey,
got
that's a lot of
inspiration.
episodes, so keep it coming.
Yeah, I've got a lot of inspiration. Yeah. Yeah. So what I wanted to just add to what you mentioned, Amanda, with your sports. So those are the sports that your son does, if I got this right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any sports that you do where you're also like crazy geeky knowledgeable, or that you maybe used to do?
Like professionally, like something you would watch on TV?
No, just like anything that you do as activity.
Oh, for me. Oh.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of the sports that I play is with the kids in the homeschool programs that we run. So this is like soccer, baseball, basketball. I never really got into team sports growing up, but I think it's just like I was one of 4, and so it was tough for my parents to like get us to like all different. Like that's a lot, trying to coordinate 4 kids. So I never really got the chance, and I feel like even when I was in high school, that wasn't really something. Now later in life, I'm like, oh my goodness, I really would have loved to have explored that more. But when I was in high school, I was kind of like, yeah, I was more into like the academics side of things. And then later in life, now that I'm into like so many sports, I'm like, oh, I really feel like I missed out a bit on that in high school and not getting that involved in sports. Yeah.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
Stephanie, did you play sports?
So I started when I was like, I don't know how old I was, like 7, 8, 9. My mom took me to swimming. Like she really, like, it was important for her that we know how to swim. Then afterwards I did trampolining.
Ooh, that's fun.
That is so fun. And actually what's really cool is that, so my mom did this also when she was a kid. So I guess she was inspired by it. And in the town where I grew up, we actually had, the trainer was a world champion. Like she won like
a gazillion gold medals. So she was really experienced and really like she knew how to do it, how to build a champion. And she was also very strict. And I guess in sports, like you have to have like crazy discipline to go get to those gold medals and Olympic gold and whatnot. And I guess for me, it just didn't like I wasn't meant to do that. It just felt too much. I felt too much pressure.
Mm.
And then when I was in high school, I did cheerleading. And I mean, cheerleading here in Europe is different than in the US. It's definitely like also it got just started really like to be as hyped as in the US, but nothing compares to like US cheerleading for sure. But we also did it in that same like high performance way. And I actually thought about my cheerleading career when you were talking earlier, Amanda, about rules and everything, because our trainer, like she was so sweet and so great and so passionate about it. Like I think this was one of the main reasons why I stayed after I just like got a glimpse at the team and everything, because she was so into it and also really like nice and empathetic. So that was important to me. And whenever we got close to like championships and stuff, she would, when we were trying like new pyramids and everything, she would explain to us, oh, this is possible, this is not possible. Because like cheerleading rules are so crazy when it comes to what are you allowed to do in terms of, stacking people on top of each other and which spins and turns and stuff you can't do and which like mounts and dismounts. And like we like regularly, all of us got like a headache from her just like explaining these itty bitty gritty tiny rules of where are the hands supposed to go and where the foot cannot be touching, blah blah blah. And so I just like so admired her for being so into it, because otherwise you could get disqualified for tiny things and then the whole team is gone, for that particular championship. So yeah, that reminded me of that. Yeah, and I was in the team for a couple of years, but I took some hits too. Like I had some accidents also. And so then when I started college, because I was moved for college, I stopped that. Yeah, I think that was it. And I was always someone that would like, be in the garden and do my twists and turns and stuff. And I was always a bit mad at my mom that she didn't put me into tumbling when I was yay tall, Like I wish that she would have done this sooner. So I would have had an easier time to learn all the stuff, the basics. Yeah. So I feel you on that, Amanda, too. Like, why not sooner or at all?
Could have been me.
Exactly.
Well, you don't always realize until later, right? Like that's the thing. Or like there's certain things I think even as we're younger and like parents are like, oh, you'll thank me for that later, right? Like there's some things where I'm like, well, no, not really. But then there's other things where like, yeah, I totally am super grateful.
Yeah. I really feel that sentiment of like, why not? Why haven't I done that? Yeah. Oh, well, that's life,
Yeah. And it's just, you were meant to, right? Like we weren't meant to. And who knows, maybe if you did, then maybe you wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, or I don't know, who knows? Like, you never know.
Or maybe like it would have just taken longer for other things to evolve for us if we would have gone down that track, because I can definitely see how my sports from when I was a teen or a kid have played into me becoming a coach.
Yes.
Like this whole development of all of it. I'm not going to go into it now, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to segue because I have been thinking a lot recently about how the hell I ended up in this coaching space. And like, and it is interesting that when you look back and you look at the things that you did as a kid and all of this kind of stuff, and And I, because I was not a sports kid, shockingly, right? Like, so, well, I mean, I'm athletic now. Like I am a completely different person now than 2 years ago. But, I actually now consider myself to be an athlete because of how hard I train every week and what I'm working towards, with some of my goals that I've set for myself. Like, I think like an athlete now. But that was not my story growing up. I was, everybody wanted me to be the football player. Like when I was born, and football's huge, like American football, not soccer. American football is huge, especially here in Texas. And so everybody was like, oh, he's going to be great football player. Boy, did I disappoint. Oh no, I was the sensitive theater kid, like that was me. But I've been thinking a lot recently about how we get to where we are, because so much of our life is unconscious, and we don't realize, unless we're actively practicing awareness and, and practicing consciousness, we sometimes can't connect the dots and we can't see how, this leads into that. And we've talked about this before on the show, but I was really thinking over this weekend, how did I end up here? Like right here, right now, and for the first time, I wrote down my mission this weekend, like my personal mission again. And I've done this exercise before, but I did it again this weekend. And I don't know what I wrote, but something when I was writing triggered like the tears. And for 45 minutes, I sobbed this weekend. And I'm talking like ugly cry, but it was like an emotional release. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like a sadness cry. It was tears of joy and fulfillment and love. And this weekend I have a new word. I experienced what I'm calling deep love for, I think, maybe the first time ever, where it was so in my body, in my soul, in here, that I was just like, wow, this is what I've been working towards. And this is, what it was like. I had so much clarity on like, this is what I want to help people tap into, in every facet of life. Cause I've been thinking about like, what I'm doing over here with like my coaching clients and their businesses in that space, and then expanding this out into more like general life coaching and things like that. And I realized I was like, at the end of the day, I just want to help people feel successful, and the line that got me this weekend was I wrote, I was never broken. I was simply becoming. And this line hit me to my core because for so many years, I genuinely thought I was broken. I genuinely thought that there was something wrong with me, that I was a problem, And for whatever reason, this divine download came this weekend, and I got those words of, I was never broken. I was simply becoming. And I realized, I was like, how powerful is it that we are all in this space of becoming, And at the end of the day, like, that's what this is all about. And I just and I look back and, I'm trying to make this transition here, but I look back and I think this is coming up because 14 years ago, I graduated high school, and it was like 14 years. This month or next month, but somewhere over the summer, where I had to make a choice that changed the rest of my life. Because when I graduated high school, I really thought I was going to go be a theater kid for the rest of my life. I was bound and determined to go to college for theater. And then financially, I had the wake up call that was like, oh, I can't afford this. Like, I don't have the scholarships for this. And I don't want to take out a $60,000 loan just to afford 1 year of school. Like, I had this like big boy moment of like, ooh, do you really want to take on that much debt for this? And 14 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to give up theater. The only thing I knew, that was my whole identity back then, was I was the theater kid. And I just remember saying, okay, I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to go find the one thing that makes my heart sing. And here we are now, like on this podcast, like sitting here together, doing the thing that makes our heart sing, you know? But it's like, isn't it beautiful how our stories and our journeys just kind of manifest and unfold, conscious and unconscious, you know? But it's just really beautiful that like we get to create this, and that we get to be co-creators in all of this. And I now sit here today, know and believe in the deepest parts of my heart that you can be anything that you want to be. Like, I didn't believe that 14 years ago, you know? I do today. And what a fucking journey, y'all. And what a joyful journey it has been, even in the darkest parts of that journey. There's a lot of beauty there. And I don't know, I'm just in a very like poetic, like deep space right now. Really appreciating it all.
Yeah. And I think this reminder that even in the moments when it feels broken or feels like things are falling apart, that really it is this becoming. It's these pieces coming together. Or, you know, like 14 years ago, if you were to tell your, 14-year-ago self that this is where things would be or where you'd end up, I don't know if you would let's say if you would believe it, or if it would just, it would just not, it would seem so far away or so different from maybe who you were. And I think that in the moment, okay, when you were making that decision, now you're talking about it as a reflection. So it's different than when you're in the moment. I've had those completely change your path moments, right? Where in that moment, it feels like, oh my goodness, this is the hardest thing ever. Or, oh no, my life is never going to be the same, or things are going to be ruined, or I'll never be happy, or, all these crazy extremes that our brain tries to convince us that yeah, this is just the worst thing ever. You're so broken. And then when you're, and it doesn't necessarily have to be 14 years past, but just for the sake of the example of what you're sharing, Tyler, I just feel sometimes you need that time to look back and realize, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I was just becoming, right? And if you didn't have those experiences, I think of my experiences even as a teenager, if I didn't have those experiences, would I be as passionate about the work that I'm doing today? I mean, I don't know, because I didn't have that experience, so I can't say, but I'm so incredibly passionate because of those experiences. So, but at the time, if you told me that there was a purpose or there was a reason, I'd be like, you crazy? Like, why would there be a purpose or a reason to this? Like, this sucks. But now, as I can reflect and look at the journey, I can see, oh yeah, like that makes sense. Of course I would experience that. Or of course I wouldn't have like taken the sports route, because maybe that would have like led me in this different direction of, you know, finding myself in a different way, where I felt really lost and confused as a teenager, you know, going through high school. So if I didn't have that confusion, then I maybe wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Without the confusion, you can't have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And this is something that I've been thinking a lot recently about, is like, you know, life allows you to experience the deepest lows and the highest highs. Mm-hmm. And I was telling, like, my sister's going through a lot right now. She's like, she got injured at work and there's a lot happening with that. And so she's like in this like deep low place right now. And I told her, I said, just be right here in this low right now, because you're going to come through this and then you're going to get to experience a high. And those highs are so much more heightened when we allow ourselves to deeply feel the lows, you know? And I've been thinking a lot recently about comfort too. And like, if we just try our entire lives to be comfortable, we're literally creating a flat life, you know? Because if we are comfortable all the time, we never allow ourselves to deeply feel the lows and then get to experience the highs, you know? And I just think, like, I don't know, I've been in this weird space recently thinking about all of this, and I'm just like, again, like I today I feel so deeply appreciative for the struggle and for like all of the shit that has been thrown in my face and all of the adversity, and, you know, just because, again, it's given me clarity and strength and confidence and all of these really wonderful things. And like, I deeply love that. And that's, whew, I'm getting like all hot. Like my body temperature is rising talking about this right now.
Sitting with that, letting that land. Mm-hmm. The highs, the lows, and then a pause.
Takes a lot to make us silent, but here we are.
Yeah. But I think that is a perfect example of like what I just said, right? Like the highs, the lows, and the pauses, not in between. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. Like, you know, those things could, but what happens in the pause, right? That we get those moments of reflection, or we get the moment to sink in to the becoming or the just being, as opposed to just like, oh, well, hurry up. Because I think sometimes too, there's that, and I don't know, maybe this is just my experience, so I'd be curious to hear if you guys have something similar, but it's often like when I'm in the thick of the becoming, or, you know, in one of the lows, I'm quick to look for, well, what are the lessons? What is becoming here? What are all the things that I can, like, you know, the opportunities for growth and those things that I'm trying to find, instead of just like allowing things to be, or to sit in a pause, or to just allow it to be. And though I do have most of the time like this, but there are moments where like I'm so deep in the low where it's like I'm hoping that if I can extract the lesson quicker, that it'll pull me out of the low quicker. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but do you know what I mean? Do you guys ever have that experience? Is this like relatable?
I think ever since I understood that concept of you need the lows for the highs and vice versa, I have gotten a lot more patient with the process. And so I am not chasing the lessons as quickly as I used to. Or I don't know if I ever was chasing lessons before. I was just waiting for the pain to be over. I wanted the pain to be over quicker. So I would say that I'm more chill about this now. And just letting go of timeframes with this. Also, what I'm thinking is that the lows have a really bad rep. And so I think this is my idealist in me that comes out now and is like, yeah, but it's all the same anyway. You're just calling it differently.
Ooh.
Right? It's just like the highs is just when you are excitedly happy, joyful, love, whatever. That's what you call a high. And then when it's the uncomfortable feelings, you call it a low. But it's the same. It's the same.
Oh, Stephanie.
Right? Wow. See, that's why we needed that silence earlier.
That is.
We need to take more breaks so we can come up with more often.
We start the episode and it's just 10 minutes of silence, you know?
Yeah, let's do that next time. Maybe not 10 minutes, but
you know,
we've talked about this before, right?
We have.
Like giving more space in the beginning of the episode. Yeah.
You know,
look at us. I mean, we're already like so cool together, but see what like being together in silence can do.
We're challenging like the status quo of what it means to podcast, you know?
Yeah. We're like, universe, we're so with you today.
But no, I think, Stephanie, that's like such a great point that you're just making. Is like, you know, we look at the highs, we look at the lows, and we call them two different things, when in reality, it's the same, you know? Energetically, vibrationally, you are operating at the same frequency when you're experiencing love, joy, you know, all of this, as you are when you're experiencing like deep sadness and things like that. Like, it just feels differently and, you know, things like that. But, and here's the thing, like, we have the power of perspective and we get to choose how we look at that, you know, and we can choose to sit in a state of pity and sorrow and poor me when we're in these lows and these moments, or we can just deeply appreciate them for what they are, what they're giving us, the gifts that are coming because of this, and then take that energy and transform and change and, you know, again, do something different. We have the power of choice, you know? We have the power of choice, and that is what I get very excited about. It's like you are so powerful, even though sometimes you feel powerless. But like, and that's just, again, I think brought on by conditioning and all of these, you know, kind of things. But it's like awakening, you know, it's like awakening to your power and being able to stand in it. Like, that's what I was telling my sister right now, like, because she's getting the she's getting all screwed over right now with like her work, and she got injured on the job. And most normal places, like when you get injured on the job, they like help you. Her work right now has not been very helpful, and they've been dicking her around. And I told her, and I'm always on the phone with her, I'm like, Emily, it's time to stand in your power. It's time to stand up. Like, you're in this moment, like take action. And she, and she's over here and she's like, there's nothing I can do. And I'm like, damn it, Emily, there's so many things that you can do right now. And I'm like, let's stand in our power, but it's really hard when you get hit by life. Like, it was an accident. She got injured at work. It was a complete accident how it happened. And, but we have that ability to take that circumstance and say, okay, how am I going to continue to stand in my power here? If work's not working with her, fight back, take charge, do something. And that's what I'm trying to help her realize, is like, even though she feels very powerless right now, there are choices that she can make, and there is power that she has, and I think I feel so passionate about this because for so many years, I myself just felt very powerless, and I felt very much like not in control, and just so like life was happening to me versus, that whole for me energy. And I'm standing in my power now. And it's just,
well, then it's so powerful that you get to empower those around you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this reminder, or what we're kind of talking about now, to me, it's like summarized in like, a moment is just that. It's just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thoughts and feelings that we choose to attach to that moment that gives meaning to it. And you could choose whatever thoughts and feelings you want. And if you've chosen one and you want to change it, you can change it too. But sometimes when you're in the thick, it's easier said than done, right? So it's a practice. It's something that takes practice. And the sooner we start practicing and learning how to do this, then, like Stephanie, you were saying, we learn this, the patience in, okay, the lesson is coming, or whatever it is, it's there, and we don't need to be stressed about the timeline. And then we can allow things just to be, and bringing back in this, like, becoming that you were talking about earlier, Tyler, and just sitting in that energy, truly, of just becoming. And we get to choose what we become.
Mm.
I wonder, for like wrapping up, if we wanted to all share one thing that we have become, maybe in the last few months or the last 2 or 3 years, like something that we are happy about, that we have grown into, that we're just like so content with at this moment.
Stephanie, I love your reflections, and you're like, you're just little
So
like
good.
your little drops of like, ooh, what this would be interesting. Like, you're really good at that.
I'm just like holding myself back because like I have like 8,000 things to say to both of the things you shared, but I'm like, nope, it's got a time. It's time to wrap up. So just go there.
Go there.
Do you guys need time to think? Should I start, or?
Yeah, you start.
Yeah, if you have something, yeah.
Well, I came up with it as I was speaking.
Like, good. Like, did we put you on the spot now?
No, not at all. I actually shared this already with you two, but I don't think I shared this on the show before. So what I'm really happy about these days is my new workout routine. And this was also like so inspired by you, Tyler. Just like listening to you talk about, oh yeah, I was at the gym this morning. Every single day we've met for the last, I don't know, 1.5 years. It definitely inspired me to also, and I gotta say that, so I've made some changes to my diet and and just have now a steady workout routine. And I gotta say that the way I'm eating right now, in terms of really eating what I want to eat, being very intentional about it, and feeling very good, feeling energized from the food I eat. And also just doing my workouts regularly. I'm sitting here now. I've done this now for the last 2 months, and I'm thinking, why did I ever think that this was so hard before? Like I think I've just built this up or made it too complicated for myself. I don't know. I don't even know I know the reason, or I will ever know the reason. But these days I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, that's all I ever wanted. Why didn't I not get this sooner? I don't know what. But this is something I'm really enjoying, who I'm becoming right now, or have become. That I'm so intrinsically committed to my workouts and to my new, I don't know, way of eating, I want to call it. And I'm really happy with it. It's really like, look at your Stephanie, go. Yeah, so it makes me feel really good, very complete, very nourished and healthy. And yeah, that's my becoming.
Well, that makes me very happy to hear that, because I am in a very similar space. Like, I think I have become, and I am still in the process of becoming, strong. And again, coming back to my power of not even just physically strong, but mentally strong, spiritually strong. And then on top of that, like, strong but flexible, because you need both. There's got to be the balance there. And this is something that I've witnessed many, many times at the gym, where there are super very strong, like, bodybuilder types out there who are not flexible at all, and who cannot touch their toes, and, like, can't do any cardio, but they can lift 500 pounds. And I'm like, good for you, And I think that for me is what I've become. I have been working on becoming, which is strong, flexible, fit, well-rounded, because I understand now just how important it is to focus on many success metrics, and not just be so focused on, a number on the scale, or how much I can lift, but being very, like, mindful of all of the metrics, and being a well-rounded athlete. That's what I'm proud of becoming, and still in the process of being. So
I'm like sitting at the edge of my seat here. Can you touch your toes yet?
I can. Yes.
Yay!
Yes. Yes. And I mean, I won't go into one time we'll dive deeper into my flexibility journey, because that is probably beyond anything else. Like, the weight loss is cool, the muscles are cool. To me, I am most proud of the flexibility that is coming. Flexibility in my shoulders, in my hips, in just different parts of my body, because I was tight, like extremely tight. And so now I have I have some new goals in terms of flexibility, and I'm just like let's go, back, bend, bridge kind of stuff. Like I want to become as flexible as possible, because for so many years I was so tight. So that's like one of my new journeys.
Let's make an episode about flexibility, because I could totally geek out on that.
Love
topic.
it. Love it.
And there's so many, like, it's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, like it's all of the things.
It's whole. It's whole.
No. It's such a great topic. Let's do that. Yeah. I'm gonna geek out so hard on that episode. Amanda, what's your becoming?
So for me right now, it is, I am a decision-making machine. Because when you do like a major reno, the excitement of like how it's gonna look when it's done is kind of like the beginning, and it's the motivating factor. And it's like, ooh, I can't wait to see this and that, and then you realize to get there, there's like 3,000 decisions you need to make every day. Like, what color do you want that speck? And like, what grout and what this and that? And I'm like, like, I just want to get to the finish line. I just want to see how beautiful it looks when it's done. It's not like, because in the grand scheme of things, like, does it really actually matter what color this like speck or this wall but colors is something for me, especially wall colors, because I know how much they shift and change, and making sure that it's the right one. Because I have like painting trauma, and I'm exaggerating obviously, but like I've had this in the past where I've painted my whole house, and it was at night, and I had got the samples, I had done all like the quote unquote right things to make sure it was the right color, and then came back in the morning because we weren't living in the house yet, and it was supposed to be gray, and it was this beautiful, like perfect gray. And in the morning we came back, and I was like, it's blue. And we had painted the doors black in the house, and the trim was white. So it had to be a very specific gray for it to make sense. And it was like basically the whole house, right? And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I knew colors could change. That's why I did the testers. But it's those things. It's like those little small things that in the grand scheme of things, does it matter that my house is blue? I have a house. Like, really, it doesn't matter. But if I'm going to do the work, if I'm going to pay someone to do the work, and I'm going to live here, I want to love what I see every day, So going that extra mile and making sure that I love how it looks. But it's a lot of decisions. Like picking, 10 different paint colors at once, and it's like decision fatigue. But I am a decision-making machine. So I am like making the decisions and not overthinking and just going with it, and then, allowing it to be. And I think, what's really cool about that is also realizing that even in making this decision, right? Like, so what? The paint turns out blue today, which luckily we haven't had any of those yet. But so what if it does? It can change tomorrow. It doesn't mean that it's permanent. Even the grout of the tile, like, does it really matter? No, because I can change it. Do I want to change it right now? Do I want to have to change it? No. But I could. It's being changed as it is. So I think that's what it is for me. It's like a decision-making machine, and I am just making decisions and not overthinking and just going with it and moving on to the next, as opposed to like in the past, this like the little perfectionist in me is like, wait for me, like, listen to me, I'm over here. And though I appreciate her and she has served me well, there's certain times where, she can take the back seat and not the driver's seat.
She does not get to drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I love it.
What a warm way to end this. Like, who are we becoming?
Yeah, and if anyone that's watching or listening feels called, please share in the comments. We'd love to hear, like, who are you guys becoming? Yeah. So until next time.
Yeah.
Keep becoming, everybody. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Come As You Are, the podcast. You can follow the show on Instagram at CAYA the podcast and on YouTube and Facebook by searching CAYA the podcast. If you haven't already done so, please help us keep the conversations going by subscribing, rating, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. And be sure to join us next time for another deep conversation.